Hello, it's Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist, and I'm going to just to make a few comments about Alex O'Connor's latest video. He's on his Cosmic Skeptic channel. He's discussing with, let me see, what's his name, Andrew Mark Henry, scholar of religion specializing in early Christianity and the religions of the late Roman Empire. So they've had a 1-hour chat about the origins of religion. Where does religion come from? And also discussing what is religion. I have to say this one is worth watching. I wasn't too impressed with Alex's last two, Dr. William Lane Craig, and before that, in fact the last three I've not really been too keen on, mainly because I felt that he was providing a platform for people to express views almost unopposed, and so I wasn't happy with that. But I was happy with this. I was very happy with this discussion, and I do recommend it. I put a link in the description. This is what happens when you get a real expert on, and Alex is not having to pander to his Christian fan base or any of that nonsense. And this conversation came out really well. I took a lot from it. It confirmed some of what I already had surmised about religion, its origins, and why people why human beings seem to be predisposed towards religion. It's like there's a part of the brain which somehow is predisposed to religious belief. So first of all, they started off asking the question, what is religion? And Alex was saying that when he started in his undergraduate degree, that this is the first question that they tackled, and that the lecturers had a sort of crafty smile on their faces, because it seems like it seems quite obvious what the answer should be, and that it shouldn't really be that difficult a question, but it's not so easy to define a religion. And the fact that, as Alex pointed out, that people seem to be including too much in religion. Like, for example, wokeism is a new religion, or people say that there are fans of Lord of the Rings which have turned that into a religion, and you make it, if you include too much in the definition, if you include too many categories into the definition, then it starts to become a little bit meaningless. But this doctor, what's his name? Sorry, Andrew Mark Henry. Yeah. So he was saying that he had some small sympathy to that kind of attempt to widen out the definition, but at the same time, wokeism, for example, may be like a set of beliefs, but there's nothing at all which points to a higher being or a higher power. There's no ritual. There's no ritual involved in a lot of things which people say, oh, it's like a religion, or like football. It's like a religion for these guys. But there are lots of things which, in things like football and other sort of beliefs, that don't have what we would think are typical of religions. True worship, for example, getting down on your knees and praying to a god, is very, very different from, for example, having a favorite footballer, and even making people, like Lionel Messi. There might be a fanatic on Lionel Messi that makes a shrine to Lionel Messi, but Lionel Messi is a human being. He's not like a supernatural higher power that is being worshipped in the hope of an afterlife, or in the hope that he's somehow going to skew the chaotic nature of reality to you, such that you benefit from that favoritism. So it's very different. I think particularly for me, the ritualistic side of religion religions that are typically religions, like Christianity, Islam, etc., is what separates out interests and groups from actual religions. Because, for example, I've sat in Christian churches. I've watched how they take the cross. The priest will arrive with the cross, and he will carry it, or an altar boy will carry it and head in a procession, and they will very slowly and respectfully take that cross and they will put it at the head of the altar. They will bow their heads, etc. This is all ritual. These rituals haven't got any sort of practical usage, except for some kind of lofty reverence for what they're doing. And you don't see that in football. You don't see it in all these other communities and interests. And well, they mentioned atheists gathering on Sundays. I can tell you something. I would never waste time. If you guys said to me, "All right, Stuart, we're going to come to Scotland. We're going to have a service for atheists," I would say, forget it. Meet me down at the pub. We'll have a meal. We'll have a few pints. We'll have a good old laugh about William Lane Craig and all the Christians and everything, or whatever. But the idea of an atheist service to me is just so absolutely ludicrous. We're trying to get away from this kind of ritualistic thing. Not that I believe in atheist services. Sounds absurd, but I believe that some atheists have got together and done this. They sing songs, they have music, they don't say prayers. They might have a kind of sermon where somebody will go out and say, well, I don't know, but in the sermon there won't be any reference to any religious texts or anything like that. There won't be a reference to any atheist Bible, or there won't be any rituals like Holy Communion. Of course there won't, some sort of atheist communion or something like that. So in that sense, for me, it's not religious at all. But if you take all the religions that we know, all the sort of main religions, Islam, Scientology, Christian Science, all the different sects, Buddhism, and all of them. Even Buddhists put a little statue of Buddha meditating, and they've got ritual in Buddhism. So they spent quite a bit of time talking about what is a religion, what isn't, and of course the nature of the question is such that they could not reach. Obviously, they didn't fight too hard to come up with a definition, but I think that they made the point that widening out religion and applying it to too many things is not particularly helpful, meaningful, and it's not really the right thing to do either. I think that they got on to the subject of death, saying that obviously human beings, as far as we know, are the only creatures that know at some point in their lives that life doesn't last forever and that they're going to die. And that religion is something which demonstrably, and I believe it's proven, that it can reduce death anxiety if people believe in the afterlife. If people do believe in the afterlife, I think they've done, they've done some studies from what they were saying in the interview. They have actually done studies and found that it reduces anxiety. Prayer also reduces anxiety because it gives people the idea that they can somehow pray to this God, and that the problem of chaotic chance, which is going on all the time, which seems to be thwarting their life ambitions, thwarting their comfort, etc., that if they pray, this chaos can be brought to a sort of order, or at least skewed in their favor, such that it benefits them. So there was something called the terror management theory, which I'll leave that. But again, the religion is something which sort of plays into that terror management theory that we all walk around in a kind of not quite terror, but there are elements of terror in human existence, and religion helps us to cope with that terror. And I admit I haven't got a religion, and there are certain things that I'm feel terror about. I mean, for example, loved ones getting horribly ill or getting killed, or any of those things. Yeah, I do feel terror about those things, and I feel completely helpless. I've got no religion, I've got no God to pray to ask for that not to happen. But neither have I particularly noticed that religious people who pray to their God for these things not to happen, I haven't particularly seen that it stops these things from happening. We've seen recently Christians killed in a church. We've seen Jehovah's Witnesses, praying for safety, and then we've seen a ex-member of that community go in with a gun. So we know that Christians get terminal cancer, etc., etc., etc. So I haven't personally myself seen that that prayer really is that effective, and I believe studies have shown that it's not effective. But it may well actually reduce anxiety in people and give them some impression that they're able to have more control over what is happening in the world through this channel of prayer. Even though we know that it doesn't work, I suppose it's coming back to Dumbo's lucky feather. It's like a sort of good luck charm. So that's about it. I've spoken enough. I've given you a bit of a taster of it, and I've not really obviously done justice to it. I've just covered some of what they were talking about, and I've expressed my own opinion about some of those issues. But I would definitely recommend. It was really nice to listen to this guy. I'm not sure if he's a believer or not. That was not discussed, but I've got no idea. In fact, I tried to look him up, and I still couldn't find out if he's a believer, if he's a Christian, is he an atheist? I don't know. I could not discover that, and they did not say it in the program. I mean, they sounded to me like two atheist sort of academics discussing the origins of religion, but I don't know whether that correctly reflects what was actually happening. So that's it. I'll be back again soon. I hope that you'll go and watch that and let me know if you were impressed as I was, that it was a very good show. So bye for now.